So I'm going to talk to you about anxiety. Now, anxiety is one of those quite misunderstood topics that we think that it's an illness almost, and if it builds and builds and builds, it can make us ill, but the anxiety itself is not what the illness is. Now, in order to understand anxiety a little bit more, let's make it really, really simple. And there are two different kinds of anxiety that we really need to focus on at this stage. The first is real-time, and the second is anticipatory. Now, real-time anxiety is that physiological, that physical response that you get when something happens. So, for example, when you're about to cross the road and you didn't see a bus coming and it whizzes past you and you step back, and that you know, that prickly feeling that you get when it's been like a near miss, it kind of runs through your body. That is real-time anxiety, and you recover from that. And there's a lot of research to show that actually you need positive emotions in order to recover from incidents like that more quickly, but that's another topic. So that's real-time anxiety. If you're walking down the street and a dog barks at you and you're like that, that is the real-time anxiety. So that's a very normal response that it just happens. Now, what happens next is that we have the second one, which is anticipatory anxiety. Now, anticipatory anxiety is really what we are all guilty of doing, this is what generates a lot of the stress and the fear that we experience. So anticipatory anxiety is when you anticipate events and you worry about them, you fret about them. Are you a worrier? If you are a worrier, you will experience a lot of anticipatory anxiety. So, for example, if you remember the example I did with the dog, where you're walking down the street and a dog barks at you, and your real-time anxiety makes you fearful, and you walk on by and you calm down and you carry on with your journey. Now, with anticipatory anxiety, you would be walking down the street and you would be fearful, you'd be worried that there's dogs, you'd be looking around, you'd see a dog in the distance and you'd be like this. So all those physiological responses that you get, you're actually generating through your imagination, even though nothing has actually happened yet. Now, what this does for you, unfortunately, is that it puts your body in that state of stress all the time. Now, many of you might be parents. I'm a mother of 4 myself. It's a very, very natural thing for us to worry about our children. Now, there is worrying and there is worrying. Now, there is worrying where if they go out and you're just a bit concerned and you're making sure that they're coming home on time, that's fine. And because I don't generate too much anticipatory anxiety, I'm normally pretty good at that. But there have been times when they've gone out and they might be a little bit late, and then you start to use your imagination as to what might have happened, and that puts your body in a state of alert or a state of stress. Even though nothing has happened and actually they're only 10-15 minutes late and everything's fine, you put yourself into this stress because you're using your imagination to develop and create situations which actually don't exist. And so much of our anxiety comes from creating situations and events that don't actually exist yet. And we do that because we're not sure that we've got the coping skills to actually deal with it if it ever happened as well. So what happens as well, that when we're doing that, we're putting our bodies into a state of stress. So instead of living at a nice, low, comfortable, manageable level of stress down here, where we react normally to events that might startle us, we are actually living our life at a much higher level of stress. And this is why we get so ill. This is why we get emotionally ill, why our emotional well-being suffers. And subsequently, quite often, our physical well-being suffers as well. So we need to understand the difference between real-time and anticipatory anxiety so that we can bring those levels down and live life at a much lower level of stress. And once you can do that, you can almost live your life stress-free and anxiety-free. You'll never be completely anxiety-free because the real-time anxiety kicks in, and it's that which protects us. But we don't want to be creating anticipatory anxiety when it's not necessary, because it doesn't do us any good. So my suggestion to you is, if you are feeling anxious today, just stop and question where that anxiety is coming from. And you'll probably find that you are creating that anxiety from projecting worrying thoughts onto situations and events that don't even exist yet. And in later videos I'll be trying to demonstrate, or I will be demonstrating, how you can stop those anticipatory anxiety thoughts coming any more than they need to come. I hope that's been useful. You can knock me up for any questions. I'm here all the time on social media, so I'll look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much indeed.